I just realized that I was talking into the camera for a few minutes without actually having hit record, so this is my baby chick, and my parents got it so I would have something to take care of while I was in a mental hospital. Normally she likes to sleep on me, but I wanted to bring her along for the ride because she makes me feel better. I wish you guys could see the cute things that she was doing when I thought I was recording, but actually wasn't. So, last Tuesday, so not yesterday, I was in a mental hospital, and I was in a mental hospital until Monday evening. I was in the ER last Monday, and I got to the mental hospital the next day. Oh, she's sleeping. Normally she can't sleep if I'm talking, or if there's any noise. Anyway, so all I can say is that it was horrible. Mental hospitals in general are horrible, but that's not the only thing I'm going to talk about. Like, a mental hospital is really only a prison, and while I was there, I really think that the only people who would benefit for being in a mental hospital was if they were consistently suicidal, like, all the time, daily. Other than that, being in a prison will not fucking help you. But not only was it a prison with, like, most of the windows literally blocked out so we couldn't see outside, the staff were just horrible. They were just awful, abusive, neglectful, incompetent, and thankfully it wasn't me who got the brunt of it. Well, I guess not, only thankfully for me. But from how I saw, they treated my second roommate. I had two roommates because the first roommate, she got jealous. Well, no, she didn't get jealous. Her girlfriend got, her mental hospital girlfriend got jealous of me. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Her mental hospital girlfriend got jealous that I was her roommate, and also because of this one comment I said, but I'm not going to say that here, but it's really harmless and it was not about Jennifer. Oh, shit, I name dropped her, but thankfully that was a common enough name where I think that'll be okay. So I switched my roommates then with the new girl. She came one day after I did, and I'll give her a code name because I really don't think she'd want this kind of information out there, but, well, not with her name. She loves me enough that she probably wouldn't care, but, let's call her Catherine. So Catherine was my second roommate, and she had a seizure disorder. I haven't really researched that fully, so can't say much, but she explained it as, like, she gets pseudo seizures, but sometimes actual seizures. And they're pseudo seizures not because she fakes it, but because she fakes it, but because they're not epileptic or something, and they really hurt her. Like, her whole body tenses and it hurts her to breathe. She feels like she's being stabbed whenever she breathes, and she has them. And she also has an enlarged heart. And one night she was having seizures. I'm not food, baby. I'm not food. She had to explain to me what was happening, and we were not allowed to hug or touch at the hospital, and I understand why they wouldn't want sex to happen, but seriously, like, giving physical comfort in the form of hugs, really don't see why they'd be against that. And I don't want to go into how horrible her life was, but let's just say she experienced some of the worst things, and she never really had a good period in her life ever. Like, she's been through it all. Rape, homelessness, foster homes, running away, abusive parents, incest, just horrible. And she explained to me what was going on, and I held her hand. She had her pseudo seizures and her tremors first. She had tremors first, and I'm not sure if it was the first time or the second time. Well, no, both times she would ask people there for help because she was really scared when she had seizures, because she died one time. Like, she literally died. She was brain dead and her heart stopped beating for 2 minutes. they would not do anything for her. In fact, they just, the entire environment there, it just taught me that people who are in the, just because they're medical care workers doesn't mean they give a shit. And it's one thing to not have empathy, like, I can't expect them all to care, like, I know it's just their job, but they made it clear that they thought of us as subhumans, as animals to be herded, savage animals, wild animals. They didn't care. And each and every single nurse, except for one, laughed at her as she was crying in pain. They mocked her. They didn't believe anything she said when she was in pain. They treated her like she was lying the whole time. And there I was super depressed, and because I was looking at how horrible it was, and I was thinking that maybe, like, the mentally ill, like me, because I have depression, should just be exterminated, not just to put us out of our own misery, but because we were in a horrible society. And it was just a dark thought. I don't actually believe that. I don't think you even have to contribute to society, whatever that means, to have a life worth living. But and the people there didn't make it easy, and it's just a dehumanizing environment. None of this, well, most of the staff were bad, and there was these 3 patients, more so 2, but pretty much 3 patients that made life there hell, if you could even call it life. I was surprised they weren't there for homicidal ideation, because they made everyone feel like shit. Apparently they were there for attempted suicide, yet they would encourage other people's suicides. They'd trigger them, like real trigger. I know triggering has become a joke, thanks to how it's used in the mainstream, but it's an actual thing. They would trigger people's panic attacks. They would make people want to kill themselves. They would tell people to kill themselves. They would attack people at the drop of a hat, and the staff would just not do anything. I think the most they did was they made us switch rooms. So me and Catherine had to move out of the bigger room, which I liked, and went to the normal-sized one, fortunately. But that was just a small thing, really. And when one of those girls punched my roommate in the face and gave her a huge bruise, they never even, like, reported it. And the person who reported it was a nurse 2 days later who noticed it in the morning. Like, seriously, people there didn't give a shit about you. It was such a horrible experience. Like, I was wanting to die just so I could get out of the misery of being there. And I wish I wrote something down. I probably am forgetting some stuff, but the whole time was almost unbearable if it wasn't for some people there. Some of the best people there, some of the best people suffer the most, I guess. Like, this one girl named Jordan. It's a good thing, so I think it's okay to say her name, but she helped so many people throughout their panic attacks. And I really liked this other girl named Delaney, and she called out those 2 really violent girls pretty much because they were bullies, really, pointing out how everyone there was there for attempted suicide, and they were just being violent pieces of shit and making other people suicidal and triggering their panic attacks. And a panic attack, if you've never seen one, I don't think I ever saw one until I was there. They're horrible things. One girl looked like she was having a seizure while having one, like she was shaking. She wasn't even crying, which I think was the scary part. Her face was just so off. And I guess one of the least bad things, like, not even a good thing, but one of my other minor complaints was that the food literally always made me feel sick, even if it tasted okay. But I think I'll never forget that experience, and I wish I could, because it was so bad. Like, after a while, I was crying my eyes out because one of the nurses lied to me and she said I'd be there for another 10 days. And for personal reasons, I thought that was very bad because basically I thought someone would forget me, but that's beside the point. I guess all mental hospitals are built in a way that's dehumanizing, but the people over there, the ones, the staff, the ones who made us feel less than human, I think they're the real people who are less than human. I mean, do they take pleasure in calling traumatized 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds liars, fakers trying to get attention, denying their pain, literally laughing at their pain, not even trying to hide it? Those are the real people who need help.